When I was in grade school, I tested into the math program for gifted students. My teacher sat me down and told me I shouldn't switch to the other class, told me that it's better for kids like me to stick with a class they're already used to. She didn't call my mom to have a parent-teacher conference like she did with my peers, just made the assumption that she knew better than my own mother which choice was right for me. How can we expect 8-year-olds to self-advocate for their education? How can we trust educators and administrators who still treat students of color like they're doing them a favor when brown boys and girls become more accustomed to the seat in the hallway than in the classroom? When you're labeled with words like defiant and disruptive simply because you dared to ask a question? How can we be moving towards equity when there were less than a handful of students of color in any one of my given honors classes, forcing me to become the classroom token when my history teacher wanted a perspective from the other side? What does it say about the achievement gap when the kids who make it to college are told to never look back, to view their communities as challenges they overcame, constantly being celebrated for making it out as if leaving is the only solution? What do we say to the kids whose teachers yell at them for speaking anything other than English on the playground, who teach 5th graders that assimilation equates success, yet still expect them to be proud of their heritage on Multicultural Day? As if one day out of the entire year can make up for the months of being cast in the shadows, silence has too often become our only means for survival. We can no longer afford to be reduced to the caricatures they make of us, pigeonholed into these stereotypes, yet we're never looked upon as birds meant for flight. And here we are. In spite of the systems built to keep us out, in spite of it all. In the words of Assata Shakur, it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We have nothing to lose but our chains.
And this, however, still follows us in higher education.
People are telling us you're the only black kid, the N-word comes up in a book or something where slavery or whatever it is.
And the issue of race comes up, the issue of slavery, the issue of whatever.
Everyone looks to you.
What are you? And I'd say, what do you mean, what am I? And they would say, like, what's your race? And I'd say, well, I'm half white. And they'd be like, yeah, okay, we can see that. You know, the red hair, the freckles. And then I'd say, I'm half black too. And then they'd say, what? You're black?
Blackness to me is faith. Having faith in what you don't see. Because we, as a people, often don't see validation. We don't see uplifting in the context of mainstream America or even situations like Harvard. So for me, it's having faith that, like, I am significant, I am valid, I am valuable, even though everything else is telling me that I'm not.
People are telling us you don't belong here, you don't deserve to be here.
you must have had a really compelling or tragic story that got you into college. Because I've met multiple people who kind of, somebody actually told me this directly, but some other people insinuate towards that. So like they kind of assume that you don't have the grades, so you didn't try hard enough to get here.
I was talking about my experience. We were all talking about, sharing what everyone shared about our experience living with disabilities, and I was talking about how my disability was affected by, or how I experienced my disability was affected by being a person of color, primarily Latina, how people assessed what my need was based on that, based on my brownness, often being under the assumption that I'll speak the language, so they thought I didn't speak English and they'd start talking in Spanish, and by that means helping me, or not understanding how I don't even have access to all the things that I need. Because of my socioeconomic class, I couldn't, my family couldn't afford to even give me the things I needed beyond the hearing aids, and that in what I later learned was bare minimum, actually, that I legally was entitled to all these other things. But that's something that academic institutions don't like talking about. They'd rather have families pay out of pocket.
Most of the African Americans who are here on campus are athletes. Just because I'm an African American doesn't mean that I'm an athlete. I have other credentials and I have other good qualifications that allows me to be here at this university.